Hello, everyone. Well, the big story in Nebraska for the next 3 days is going to be the wind. The kind of wind that is not pleasant to be out in. I actually think today is going to be slightly less windy than what we're expecting for Wednesday or Thursday, believe it or not. And already today, some strong winds out there. All right, so no warnings for places like Lincoln, Beatrice, Omaha. It's just going to be, we'll call it a windy day today. But anywhere where you do have a warning, whether it's the red flag warning or the high wind warning, we'll call it very windy. Now, in the high wind warning, even stronger winds than in the red flag warning, but very windy conditions anywhere in the red flag warning or the high wind warning. And I tell you what, we're going to be talking about the high wind warning and wind advisories. Again, not just today, for the next 3 days. But for today, the wind warnings are in effect from 10 a.m. this morning until 10 p.m. this evening. But get ready for more of those in the days ahead. So let's look at wind gusts around peak wind gust time in the afternoon hours for the next 3 days. Let's start with today. And this is where, as a meteorologist, this is where we're useful. We're not just dependent on the models, because I think the computer model is underdoing the winds for today. When you look at what's happening right now and the wind gusts that we're already seeing, they're stronger than what the model is saying. So I know the model is saying gusts mainly in the upper 30s, low 40s, mid 40s this afternoon around 3, 4 o'clock, which, again, over the next 3 days, 3, 4 o'clock should be when we're seeing our peak winds in general across the state. I'm not going to rule out across the northern half of the state some gusts getting up to 55 miles per hour. I do think that is a possibility already this afternoon. So I think the model underdoing the winds a little bit for today. However, it seems to get back on track for the next 2 days. And check out tomorrow. And I do think in general we're talking about wind gusts that are going to be a little bit stronger tomorrow. Notice the winds picking up for places like Lincoln, Beatrice, Omaha. Well, today your gusts are mainly going to be in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. Notice that we're talking about those gusts getting into that 40 to 50 mile per hour range for you as well. And I know it seems hard to believe, but look at the places where we could see gusts around 60 miles per hour Wednesday afternoon. Grand Island, McCook. Could there be some gusts getting close to 65 miles per hour in the western part of the state? I do think that's a possibility. Some pretty crazy wind. And I hate to say it, but look at Thursday. There might be some improvement in some locations, but I still think we're talking about wind gusts in some locations getting around 60 miles per hour Thursday afternoon as well. Notice kind of peaks in the central part of the state. For Thursday afternoon, a little bit lighter winds to the west and east, but still, I mean, that's not a light wind in Omaha. We've got around 50 miles per hour Thursday afternoon. So for the next 3 days, what does all this mean? Well, first off, lightweight objects in your yard could very easily be blown around. So here's your warning right now. Any lightweight objects in your yard, make sure they're secure or bring them inside for the next 3 days. Otherwise, they're going to go missing or cause a mess in your yard. The second thing, driving across the state. Keep a firm grip on the steering wheel. So when you get those gusts 40, 50, 60 miles per hour, you're going to feel those gusts hitting the side of your car, especially if you're in a high-profile vehicle. It could cause you to drift into the next lane. So firm grips on the steering wheel. And the other thing that we have to talk about for the next 3 days, we're talking about the possibility of some power outages. Because these kind of wind gusts can bring down a tree limb, hits a power line, next thing you know, there goes the power. I don't think it'll be widespread, but I do think that's going to be an issue over the next 3 days. So that's just talking about the wind, because that's really the big story. But actually today there's a rain chance as well. 8 a.m. this morning, kind of isolated activity in most places. Actually, I think the best chance of rain is around the Omaha area, encountering some showers for that morning commute. Could be a little bit of a rain-snow mix out around Scottsbluff, but that's just about it. We are going to see variety in temperatures from east to west as we get into the afternoon hours. And notice how a lot of the state is going to be largely dry. Notice in the central and eastern part of the state, some isolated showers in there as we get towards lunchtime. And notice how we're warming up in the east, but not so much out west. Take a look at how high temperatures are going to break down this afternoon. So I do think we're going to get into the low to mid 60s in the southeastern part of the state. We might even hit the low 60s Kearney, Grand Island, but not so much over to the north and west. Highs are only going to reach the mid to upper 40s in the western part of the state. And notice in general, Where it's going to be the least windy today is where you have the best chance of rain. Notice it's certainly not going to rain all day long, but the chance for off and on showers is there. Yeah, even into the homebound commute, though I will say by homebound commute time, there's probably not going to be as much activity as during the morning and early afternoon. Evening hours, I think the rain is limited, likely to the far southeastern corner of the state. So probably already done with the rain, even in Lincoln, Omaha, but maybe Beatrice, lingering shower. And then by the time we get towards 11 o'clock, 2 a.m., I think the rain is all pushing out of here. So I do think we're going to have dry conditions for that Wednesday morning commute.